The Adobe Photoshop program is great for touching up and editing photographs, although it can seem a bit intimidating upon first glance. Let's take a quick look at some of the basic features that it has to offer. Let's start by opening up an existing image file that we want to edit. You will need to select File in the menu bar and scroll down to Open. From here, a dialog box will appear with a few selections. This is why I recommend that you save images that you're currently working on to the desktop. Remember, if you're using raw image files, you will need to process them through the Camera Raw program first. When your file opens, you will be presented with a document window where you can see the file name and the current image size, as well as the color space and the bit depth. This image is currently viewed at 16.7%. But we can zoom in and out of the image as we edit using the keyboard. You will want to hold Control or Command if you're using a Mac, while pressing the plus key to zoom in or the minus key to zoom out. Try zooming in to 100% and moving around the image. You can do this while using the Move tool and scrolling up and down or side to side. However, a quicker way to examine your image is to use the Hand tool. Click the letter H on the keyboard to quickly access it. Click and drag the image around in any way that you want, but be sure to check the focus when zoomed in this close. On the left-hand side of the interface is the Tools panel. It has a variety of different tools, including the Crop tool and the Text tool. If you hover over the tool, it will give you a preview of what the tool does as well as a quick description about its use. You can hold down on a selected tool, and this allows you to see other tool options. When you have a particular tool selected, you will see certain features for that tool at the top of the interface. These features will change with each selected tool. Right now we are using the Text tool, so we have the option to change the font, font size, alignment, and color. When we select a different tool, the available options change. On the right-hand side of the interface are different panels. The most important one is the Layers panel. Right now we can only see our background layer, but we will need to add more as we make edits. If your panels become unorganized, you can always adjust them by going to Window, to Workspace, and then to Reset Essentials. At the top of the interface is the menu bar. This is kind of a catch-all for Photoshop. It gives you access to common file tasks like save, open, cut, and paste, but it also has commands for editing that aren't on the regular Tools panel. To resize your image, you will want to go to Image and then to Image Size. The dialog box will showcase the current image size and the dimensions. Please make note that your image is at a specific aspect ratio, which is the relationship between the width and the height. If you adjust one, the other will correspond. When resizing your image, you can change between pixels and inches. Sizing your image by pixels is often best when saving for the web, while sizing your image by inches is often best when preparing to print the photograph. The resolution is the overall size of the image based on pixels per inch, or ppi. 300 ppi is best for printing, while 72 ppi is best for the web. If you plan to alter your resolution, first uncheck Resample, then alter the resolution, and make sure to recheck it before changing the size of the image. Cropping an image can be a very important part of editing your work. Select the Crop tool or press C on the keyboard. Your image will then be selected with multiple movable points. You can crop your image in a variety of ways, but if you are trying to maintain the same aspect ratio, you can select Ratios and go to either Original Ratio or to the 2:3 aspect ratio. You can also try other crops like a 1:1 or square ratio. You can also enter in your own desired ratio like 8:10. This will maintain an 8:10 aspect ratio even if your image output size is larger or smaller. Remember, the aspect ratio is just the relationship between the width and the height of the image. When you have a crop that you are happy with, just select the check mark in the upper right-hand corner or hit the Enter key twice. Mistakes are going to happen all of the time, so it's good to know how to undo them. One of the main ways to correct a mistake quickly is to hold Control or Command on a Mac and then press the letter Z. This action will take you back one step. If you continue to hold Control or Command and press Z again, it will take you back another step. Continuing to press Z will continue to take you back as far as your work history allows. Along with this action, if you hold down the Alt or Option button on a Mac, it will toggle back and forth between the current state and the last step. This is helpful when you're testing out an edit and you want to see what it looks like with and without the changes. To examine your work history, you can click here and scroll through it. Selecting a step will take you back or push you back up to that specific step. If you cannot find your work history, go to Windows and scroll down to Select History. Saving your work is essential. You don't want to put in a ton of time making edits and then lose all of that effort. If you've made edits and you want to save your work, go to File, then Save As. I always recommend renaming your edited files so that they don't overwrite your originals. If you have layers, then you will only have a few file formats to choose from, like TIFF or PSD. Both of these formats save your layers and do not compress the file, but TIFF is a more general file, while PSD is a Photoshop-specific file. If you are saving an edited image to submit for an assignment, you will want to make sure that you have it saved as a TIFF or a PSD. Then you will need to flatten your layers and save the image. You will notice that there are many new file format options when you are not saving layers. Generally, you will want to save it as a JPEG file. Please remember to consistently save your work as you edit, but first make a copy of your original photograph before you begin, or remember to save it with a new file name. You can save throughout the editing process by going to File and then Save, or by quickly holding Control or Command on a Mac and then clicking the letter S on the keyboard. Also, a quick reminder that the file names can be the same so long as the file formats are different, like a PSD and a JPEG.